Hi all. So Chris and I are back, and this time we're talking about Dreamforce to You 2020 Keynote Speech. So the day before the event kicked off, we received an email reiterating the keynote speakers and that the time had been adjusted to an earlier start time, which was probably like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Then the day of, 30 minutes before this new start time, we received an email informing us that James Corden, who is a late night host, would be the pre-show speaker, and Lenny Kravitz would be one of the after-show performers. So when I went to go log into the platform, already I noticed a few major improvements. On the sidebar, there was an option to select a different language, including American Sign Language, and the chat queue was optional. I was so excited about this because for those of you who attended Trailhead DX virtually and watched our review video about it, you will know that the chat was automatically enabled the whole time and was a major distraction previously. I know it was still a distraction for you, Chris, when you logged into it.
Yeah. And every time that it would freeze a little bit and I would refresh, I would have to see everyone jockeying for networking positions and begging for LinkedIn follows on there. So it was nice to be able to hide it.
Yeah, I kept it hidden the whole time. I was like, I'm not messing around with this. I just want to watch the keynote speech. So before the keynote, as I mentioned, there was a pre-show, which was very short, sweet, simple, and funny. And it was a really good introduction to Mark Benioff. So Chris, why don't you talk about the actual keynote speech?
Yeah. Mark Benioff from the roof of the Salesforce Transit Center at the base of Salesforce Tower there in San Francisco basically walked us through some pretty big changes happening in Salesforce, or at least big news in tech that week. And the big one being that Salesforce acquired Slack.
Yes.
For like $27 billion and change. So a good day for Slack investors, probably a good day for Salesforce users too. I know they haven't really mentioned specifically what all is going to change, how much of Slack's functionality is going to get absorbed into Salesforce as opposed to still living outside. But I think optimistically, it's probably a good chance for Salesforce to find some new clients, people that are already paid Slack users, and just saying oh, hey, we're offering discounted rates for new Salesforce licenses, or for people that are already on Salesforce licenses to pick up Slack at a discount.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and Mark Benioff also brought the Slack CEO out. They were a solid 20 feet apart at all times for social distancing, but they were on the same roof, and not a long commute for him because Slack's headquarters is right across the street in San Francisco. So the skeptic in me figured that's the reason for the acquisition, just so Salesforce could get some more office space close by, but that's probably not it. One of the things that I'm optimistic about is that Chatter will pick up a lot of the functionality from Slack and really turn it into more of a immediate collaboration tool, because Chatter in its current form has that instantaneous feel of Slack when you're typing, but then the response rate, I feel almost feels more like a forum than a chat software. And it's called Chatter. So I would love to see it be a little more chat friendly and a little less permanent forum format.
I'd agree. I feel like anytime I look at it, I feel like it's much more, it's not a chat, it's much more professional.
Yeah, Chatter to me feels much more, you have to be very intentional and craft a post as opposed to just shooting a question into the void,
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with them being outside, I feel like it actually surprisingly worked, considering, I don't know about you, but I heard a lot of background noise. There was birds and a fire alarm went off, but I could still hear them both having a conversation. And I was glad they could hear each other because I was worried for them.
Yeah.
Being 20 feet apart. You can't see on the screen right now, but.
Yeah. let's see. The other big thing that I took away from Mark Benioff's portion, I mean, aside from the fact that he's already done 4,000 Dreamforces and he's ready for 100,000 more.
Sign up.
Yeah, which I guess we should expand on. He's referring to the Dreamforce to you setup that they did where, typically Dreamforce would be a week in November. This time around the usual kickoff date, they announced it's going to be virtual in the form of Dreamforce to you, which for the last month and a half, you've had an opportunity to contact your account executives at Salesforce, and they'll put together a personalized Dreamforce experience for you and your company. We don't really know what that looks like. I think we should probably sign up and give it a spin. But it seems like 4,000 people have already taken up Salesforce on that offer, and Mark was really excited about it. So,
right. I mean, there's probably more now at this point after his keynote.
Yeah.
He might have 5,000. He has 99,000 to go.
Yeah. He's just stuck on that rooftop until everyone stops signing up or until the new year comes.
Right. Good thing it's not raining.
Yeah. The other thing that Mark talked about that I got excited for was Hyperforce, which it definitely seemed like they were presenting it as an option for the public sector primarily, and specifically like international public sector clients. But you and I know from doing all those RFPs that when it comes to the government, they have a lot of rules around compliance, around data management, privacy, and one of the, I want to say, more common rules they seem to have is that data needs to be stored either locally, meaning on their own servers, or locally, like geographically, like at least it needs to be within the borders of the country that we are a part of. So Hyperforce is going to allow agencies or organizations to choose where their data is kept. I think they worded it a little strategically, because if you look at the Hyperforce page on Salesforce, it's all about like store your data locally, and they mean geographically local, not the way that technical people use local as opposed to cloud. Yeah. So I think there's some marketing happening there and some sales happening there, and hopefully it'll at least open the door for some organizational contracts where, someone in government says like, hey, they said we have to store it locally. This says we can store it locally. And just hopefully they'll be okay with keeping it in borders.
Yeah.
But I know like with GDPR in Europe and stuff, like if you're a European company, you probably have questions about storing stuff on US servers because might not meet the same privacy requirements that you have over in Europe. So now everyone will be able to sort of silo off their data, not from the Salesforce community as a whole, but at least keep it geographically contained. And I think that'll make it a lot easier to pitch to governments and other organizations that have big compliance requirements.
Yes, I would agree to that for sure.
After Mark spoke for a while and we got to meet the CEO of Slack, we did also get to meet a few other CEOs, Bentley, AT&T, and the governor of Rhode Island. So not a CEO, 2 CEOs, 1 public sector. And it was interesting to hear their perspective both on the year we've had and the drastic changes to the work environment and the way that people are still operating, to how Salesforce has helped them, but also like with Rhode Island specifically, how they were using it to help like keep track of their COVID performance and adapting existing systems to track new things given like how much the world had changed. So I feel like it was a good showcase for the adaptability and flexibility of Salesforce.
I would agree to that. And I know you and I were discussing earlier, the one downside to having all these big companies though, is a lot of small companies are suffering right now. And so it would have been nice to have brought on a small company like a coffee shop or a restaurant to show how Salesforce could also help the smaller companies, because even though it's great to have AT&T and Bentley and a whole state brought on, which is great for those who are in bigger companies, but also, they also need to show like we can help your business stay afloat during these times for all those small businesses. So I wish they would have done that, but it was also nice to see, like you said, the diversity of businesses that they can help and support during this time.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, we might be missing with Dreamforce being virtual this year is at the actual event, there's a lot more time and stage real estate to bring out clients of all sizes and all the little spin-off talks so that you can have, here's a large retail client, here's a small mom and pop retail client, here's a large food service client, here's a small food service client. So you can really, attend the stories that are going to be most relevant to you. Hopefully we're going to get some of that next week with the sessions that should have more of a typical Dreamforce feel.
Yes, I would agree to that. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. And if you haven't already registered, dreamforce.com is where you can sign up for those new sessions. So next week from the 14th to the 17th, it'll be sort of that Dreamforce proper where 4 straight days of sessions. This year they have it broken out to sort of a different theme every day. So I think the first day is Customer 360. The second day is, the things that have happened this year in terms of the pandemic. Day 3 is Customer Success, and day 4 is Trailhead. So I know, Caylin, you already signed up. Are there any sessions you're excited about, or how was the sign-up process?
Yeah, so I'll start with the sign-up process. So I was the most excited about this part because once you sign up and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this Get Started button. And from there, you can customize your sessions based on your role. So there's over a dozen to choose from. So you can be partner, marketing, developer. There's even an everyone role, which is like great. So once you click on your role, you'll scroll down a bit and you'll get a handful of sessions to pick from each day. So you'll be able to click on the session, read more about it, and then you can add it to your calendar. And even better is once you pick a role, you can go back and pick another role. So there can be a day where nothing speaks to you. You're like, this doesn't apply to me at all. And you can go check out like the everyone role is so basic, but it's so useful. Or you can be like, well, I want to learn more about partner stuff rather than developer stuff. And so you can go and handpick. So I think each day I signed up for about 3 or 4 sessions. Of course, all of those are probably like an opening session and a closing session. And the nice part about it too is each of them are 30 minutes long. There's a few that are 20, but I like the fact that I'm not going to be sitting there for an hour, which I feel like can be really hard throughout the day. If you sign up for more sessions, you're not going to focus as much. So at least with the 30 minutes, it's just like, here's the information, go, utilize it.
Yeah.
Go grab a snack. Because Trailhead DX, I was starving. I needed lunch. They just had so much happening. I couldn't get lunch. Now I have time for lunch.
Yeah, that's important. And I think the sessions are everywhere from like 9 a.m. Pacific to like 9 p.m. Pacific. And I haven't really like looked through and seen if there's repeats because presumably it's easy now to repeat sessions because they're all going to be digitally produced anyway. But it should make it easier for people not to miss things that they care about, make sure that like if there are conflicts, it'll be easier to grab recorded versions. And yeah, since they're only 30 minutes, you could, I would say, listen to one every day on the way to work. But if you're not driving to work right now, just wake up 30 minutes early and put one on.
Yeah, right. And also, I guess you mentioned the time, but for those in Europe and in Asia, specifically Asia Pacific, they actually have different days and start times this is actually being labeled as Dreamforce TX, not Dreamforce TU. So Dreamforce TX is taking place on slightly different days. I believe it's in Asia Pacific, it's the 15th through the 18th. In Europe, it's the 15th through the 17th, depending on your time zone. So make sure you pay attention to that so you don't miss anything you want to see.
Yeah. Okay. And I think it's probably also a good opportunity to plug our event next week, Mambo Merge Office Hours. It's our monthly, Mambo Merge is our mail merge and data merge app for inside Salesforce. So you can generate documents using the data that you already have with the click of a button. Every month we do office hours where it's a chance for clients to ask questions, request new features. We talk a little bit about the roadmap, and it's just a real quick, chat with the devs, get straight to the root of the issue so we don't have to email back and forth solving problems. So that will be on Thursday of Dream TX next week at 10:30 Pacific. And feel free to sign up. I'll throw a link somewhere here in the description. Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, where else are you going to get customer service like this? Where you contact a business and you're like, I have this issue. And we're like, we'll make the app better.
Yeah.
We will fix this issue for you.
Yeah.
So sign up. Alrighty, well, thanks guys. I hope you enjoyed our video. It was a little longer than usual, and it was a bit of a review and a bit of a informative video on how you can prepare for Dreamforce TX.
Yeah, but wait, there was also, I feel like it's good that we went a little bit long because the keynote went way longer than I expected.
Yes!
So this is just in line with that. But we almost ended without talking about Lenny Kravitz or Metallica being musical guests to end the show.
Oh my goodness, we did forget. We're going back, guys.
Yeah.
Rewind.
So once we got through all of the Salesforce stuff, as is Dreamforce tradition, they had a musical guest. This time it was Metallica, who I believe has played Dreamforce 1 or 2 times before, and Lenny Kravitz, which was a nice surprise because I don't think either of them were advertised or listed ahead of time. It was sort of a day of announcement.
Yes.
Yeah. And Metallica surprises me a little bit. They definitely have a relationship with Mark Benioff and Salesforce because they've done it before. But it's always funny for me to see Metallica in sort of a tech scenario because one of my earliest memories of Metallica is when they sued Napster and Napster shut down. And I had to stop getting my music there and had to go to Kazaa and LimeWire, and it was never the same.
Okay. I saw Metallica on PBS just the other week, and I was like, wow, how the times are changing for Metallica on a tech channel and on PBS.
Yeah.
It's just me and then a bunch of 60-year-olds who watch that channel.
I mean, I guess how long is it before music becomes classic?
I don't know.
Were the classical stations still playing Mozart and stuff? Or are they up to Devo and yeah.
Of Wolf and Man.
Yeah.
I love it. It's gonna be my new station.
Yeah.
Because Lenny Kravitz is also, he's been around too for quite some time, so we can just add him to that mix too.
Yeah. He didn't have that giant scarf though.
No.
That was one of my favorite Kravitz moments, was that giant scarf, because that made me go like, oh man, I can start wrapping blankets around my neck when it's cold. Like, that's the move.
Right? That was just such a the memes that follow that.
Yeah.
Appreciated them. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks for joining us and sitting at this very long but really fun conversation and review we had of Dreamforce 2 and the keynote speech and Dreamforce TX. If you enjoyed watching this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on social media like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We run those pages, so that's us. So follow us there. Yep. Cool. And so I guess this is our goodbye until next time.
Yeah, thanks, Caylin. And I'll definitely I'll be doing daily videos next week in line with the sessions, both to talk about what I'm excited about and to recap what I saw the day before. So if you subscribe, you'll have those waiting for you in the morning if you still are waiting to plan your day last minute.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Thanks so much for doing this.
Bye. Bye.